Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the next part of my Doctor Who DVD overview series. This being the third one to feature Tom Baker, and what we're in right now is what I would call really the zenith of the Tom Baker years, the high point of Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes. Also, we have Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen, and at least, especially in terms of these four stories, I actually view all of them as classics. First, we have the android invasion. This is also notable as being one of the stories that was written by Terry Nation that focused on something other than the Daleks. He has a few others as well, but this is definitely a notable example. And for some reason, many years ago, I was actually obsessed with this story, and I have no idea why. I was just a kid at the time, but I used to play my off-air video of it over and over again, to the point where even now, for some reason, I still seem to have most of the episode memorized, 25, 30, whatever years later. Anyway, so here we have Tom Baker, the creepy robots. And this was actually one of those that I had actually wanted to come out when the DVD series was first announced or first started coming out back in, in Region 1. It was back in 2001. And it wasn't until early 2012 that I finally got to see this one on DVD. So, yeah, 11 years waiting for this one. So, needless to say, I was glad when it came out. And next we have Doctor Who Goes Frankenstein with the brain of Morbius. And what I actually remember mostly about this one is my original off-air recording actually included the De Silva introductions, which were done for North American TV, where they'd kind of give a summary of the previous episode and a preview of the next episode. So this was, for some odd reason, the version that I had off-air, which I had recorded off YTV in Canada back in 1990, actually had those introductions. It was actually the only one that did, at least that they aired on that station, although that was common with a lot of the Tom Bakers. And some of the earlier DVDs actually do have those introductions. But anyway, so here we have the brain of Morbius. There we go. There's our Frankenstein. So at this point, what you're actually really seeing in the Tom Baker years is episodes being based on major films, like obviously the Mummy was covered in Pyramids of Mars. Here we've got Frankenstein and the brain of Morbius. Also, this is the one with, in terms of continuity, the actual rather confusing scene, which actually they've got the little bulb thing right there, whatever you want to call it, where we're actually seeing it's supposed to be the Doctor and Morbius, and they're having mental brain combat, or whatever you want to call it. And you see multiple images, including the previous three Doctors, as well as a lot of others. And I believe at the time it was supposed to infer that, this was the Doctor's and Morbius's previous incarnations. So leaves the question, okay, so at this point, were they considering that the Doctor had actually been around for a long time and been through several regenerations, or was it supposed to be Morbius? Although, for continuity's sake, the extra faces, which actually were the production team, we'll just say they're Morbius, and I don't know, we could go on the Doctor Who forums if you want to debate that, which has been done many times over the years. Anyways, then on to The Seeds of Doom, another all-out classic. Begins with kind of an Arctic expedition gone horribly wrong. Six-parter, meant to close off Tom Baker's second season. Some of the sequences in this one, it was originally shown back in the 1970s, were I don't consider to be a little bit controversial, because some of it actually, even by today's standards, some of the people turning into plant sequences are a little gory and gross, if you want to use that term. But that's one of the things that, when I was a kid, when I was really young, when I first saw this story, actually, because of those scenes, actually scared the living crap out of me. So more nostalgia than, we've got our grass creature, whatever you want to call them. But anyway, so there we go. And of course, one of those stories that takes place partially in a mansion with a madman. sort of, whatever. Also probably has one of Tom Baker's more memorable, or Doctor Number 4's more memorable temper tantrums, if you want to call it that, where he's actually kind of horrifying when you can see how just pissed off this version of the Doctor could get. Doctor Number 4 was one of those who, he had a comic side, but he also had a dark side. That's the thing with some of the Doctors. Some of them, and often it tends to be some of the more lighthearted ones when you look at them on the surface, tend to have that dark side. Doctor Number 4 had it. Sylvester McCoy's Doctor definitely had it during the later years. Christopher Eccleston, some people would say he'd be in there too, but he was a little bit more upfront with that. David Tennant's Doctor definitely had a dark side to him. So it's sort of this one version of the Doctor's psyche that runs through regenerations. And then, of course, you have some like Peter Davison, who, you know, Doctor Number 5 didn't really show that at all. So, but anyways, Angry Scary Doctor comes out in this one. And last but not least for this video, the Mask of Mandragora. At least I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, because I've never been sure exactly how it's pronounced, so we'll just pronounce it that way. So here we see this is the beginning of Tom Baker's 3rd season. We also see a new font used for the opening titles, which distinguishes it a little bit. This is also the one where they're walking through the TARDIS at the beginning, and you see the boot cupboard with boots and kind of a mansion behind. I don't know, one of those sort of funny scenes. Also, this introduces the debut of an alternate set for the TARDIS. I think 2 reasons. One was, I think it saved space, but second, with Hinchcliffe, with the tone that he was going with the show, he figured, you know, darker TARDIS, or, you know, some, you know, it's sort of the wooden Victorian type style would be more suited to sort of the theme or the way the show was going creatively at that time. But anyway, so here we have that one, and so that is it for this one. So, as always, everyone, thank you for watching, and I will see you all very soon with another Doctor Who video and other non-Doctor Who things when I get around to it. So, thank you very much. Goodbye.